this off. Coming to the stage is Renee Wege. She is an expert. I want to make sure I get this right, Renee. I'm going to screw this up. She is an expert and lover of all things food, drink, and the color pink. Oh my gosh, that's me. She's been speaking for work for about a year and also a newbie at storytelling. Please be kind. Like I said, do not correct, okay? But she has been inspired to tell stories of her past and inspired the future for others. Please find her on LinkedIn or after the show if you have ideas for furthering her storytelling skills. But I'm excited to welcome to the stage once again our friend, Renee Wege. Everybody keep clapping.
Let's see, I'm definitely not that tall, so let's move that. This is like the third time I find myself being in the first spot to open something, and I don't know what it is. In a month, I'm gonna talk to 400 people, and they put me in the first freaking time slot. It starts at 4, and they're like, okay, you're gonna go on at 4:30. All right, cool, lots of pressure. Anyway, I'm really excited because I've actually really wanted to talk about driving for quite a while. Not like I know anything about cars except for that my four-nager has 1.2 billion of them. But I have realized that driving is a lot like life in many ways. You have to multitask like a crazy person, you know? You have to like figure out what's going on in front of you, where you need to turn, how to navigate, if there's a screaming kid in the back, how to turn and steer and watch out for people and bikes and animals and all sorts of different things all at the same time. I'm kind of surprised I have the brain power to do this all the time, and other people do too. It's crazy to me. But I was excited that road trip is the theme today because I can finally talk about driving. And driving is kind of that ultimate metaphor for life, if you think about it, right? Life is a highway. Get in control, jump in the driver's seat. Sometimes there might be a fork stuck in the road, turning point. Green Day taught us that. Even if you prepare, you might have to follow some detour. You're gonna hit a roadblock, challenges, hardship, traffic. There's always traffic, right? First thing that always happens in life and driving is that, of course, you're gonna hit traffic. Sometimes you might miss an exit. There's another one along the way. All these things, I could go on and on. But today I want to tell you about 5 things that I learned about life through driving and road-related things. So flashback to when I wasn't about to have a baby, but was actually a baby myself. I was told that my parents thought it was a really fun idea to take me as a newborn or an infant on a 16-hour road trip from Michigan, where we lived and where I grew up, to Boston, where my grandparents were living at the time. Apparently, I was amazing at being in the car, right? I was a great baby. I made no noise. They had no idea I was even there, if the car was in motion. So they would be stuck in tunnels and traffic and bridges, and I would just scream bloody murder. I would scream my fucking head off, right? And I know this now as a parent, that sometimes, you just need movement. That is the key to life. That is my first lesson. A lot of times movement is that key, especially with babies, because when I first started talking, I'm a part of this really cool group called Toastmasters. My friend Lisa is from there. Big round of applause for Lisa. Thank you for coming to support me. We practiced speaking, and I started speaking, and you get feedback, and it's all very kind and, things that you just never would have known about yourself. Apparently, when I first started speaking, I would sway back and forth, moving my hips as if I knew how to dance or some crap like that. But no, I don't know if I was trying to placate my own nerves, or if I was just so used to having a baby before that I had to keep in motion. The gentle sway of the calmness, right? And then my second lesson in life if I can remember. Let's look at my notes. Oh yeah, so my dad was the one that taught me to drive. He helped me learn, along with like driver's ed and all that bullshit, right? But even way before that, I have really great memories of him in the car. My parents owned a Chinese restaurant, and so they were working like crazy hours, and we would be with them, working with them like early mornings to late nights. And I have really fond memories of at night when we left at like 11 p.m. too late for a little kid. But a lot of times I would either ride with my mom, and my brother and dad would have time together, or I would have daddy-daughter time. My dad was a man of very few words. He often answered with just yes or no or nothing else. Or he would just grunt. I think the longest sentence he ever said, like a string of words, was, "Have you eaten yet?" And that was about it. So he never quite shared like his love in words, right? It's a very traditional Chinese thing. You don't say "I love you." I don't know how to say "I love you" in Chinese. It's just a thing. But late at night, we would drive home, and he would hold my hand. And I remember that so vividly, feeling that love. And I would get so sad when he had to take his hand away, just for a second, he said. Because, sometimes you need two hands to drive and turn and such. So that's the second lesson, that sometimes you can feel love as well as just hear it. And like I said, my dad taught us to drive, and one of the most vivid memories I have of asking a really stupid question, which I'll get to more later, you will learn that there are stupid questions in life. People tell you ever hear that? No stupid questions. Just try to get people to, ask stupid questions sometimes. There are stupid questions. I will get to that later. But I remember my dad would teach me, and he would show me how to adjust everything in the car, right? Here's your rear view mirror. And again, I don't know, I can't remember if I was just a smart aleck or if I was really that dumb. But I said, "Dad, I'm driving forward. Why do I need to see what's in back of me?" Makes sense, right? And if you know anything about driving, or if you are a human, you know that you need to see behind you. Oftentimes you have to back up, and you need to see. Well, it's like life, right? We're also focused on going forward. Ourselves, our future, what we need, what we want, what makes us happy. There's people behind us that we have to care for too. Kids, other generations. There's people next to us in different lanes. They're trying to get to where they need to go too. We're all trying to get somewhere. We're all gonna get there, hopefully, even with those detours and the long way around. But we need to be careful, and we need to remember those people behind us and see everyone around us as well. My fourth lesson is about stupid questions. My son, who's now 4 and lovely, except when he's screaming and not letting me go out the door like for tonight, he was born 6 weeks early, was in the NICU for 3 weeks, and I was a mess. I didn't know anything about caring for this screaming potato that was just there screaming 24/7. I knew nothing about childbirth. I had just been trying to read up about that. He just came out on his shower date. It's like, "It's my freaking shower, I'm coming out." Well, I remember texting my sister-in-law about car seats. Again, I just had so many hormones and thoughts coming up. And I go, "Okay, so if the car seat's in the back and, Matt, my husband, is driving and he's fussy, do I just take him out?" Okay, let that sink in for a second. So first off, my sister-in-law rapidly texted back, "N-O capitals. No, you do not do that." Yes, there are stupid questions in life, because I literally asked, should I take an infant, newborn, out of its car seat in a moving vehicle? There are stupid questions in life, but you can't be afraid to ask them, because otherwise I might have done that. Who knows? You don't know unless you ask. My mom always said that, especially even like with work, right? You're not gonna learn if you don't ask people, but if they answer, you need to remember, because you can't be that person who's asking the same question over and over again. That's how you get really annoying. And I think I'm at number 5 now. So number 5, again, such memories of my dad and driving. He always did the driving, like when we went on trips and road trips and stuff. He was very impatient, so he didn't want my mom to drive, you know. For a while, he did a really long drive, about 5 hours or more, from Michigan to Chicago, because during the summers, I went to something called CTD. Does anyone know what that means? If you do, that would be crazy. What? Oh my God, how do you know this? I mean, I guess it's around here.
What is it?
It's Center for Talent Development. It's a program at Northwestern. It sounds like we are being trained for to become a celebrity singer or something. That would be really cool, but no, it's sleepaway camp for smart people. Or people like me who ended up being really good at taking tests for whatever reason. And so we would go to this summer camp and learn more and study during the summer. Anyway, my dad made that 5-hour drive all the time in his 50s or 60s. Then I fell in love with Northwestern, so he came and moved me in and out and did that several times. And even though I'm decades, younger than when he did those drives, I never thought I could do it. And sometimes in life, you don't think you're gonna be able to do things. There's very hard things and you're like, I can't do that. Well, another hard thing that I had to deal with is that with my son being out so early, I tell myself it's because he wanted to meet his gong-gong, his grandpa. A few months after I found out I was pregnant with my first child, my dad was also diagnosed with cancer. Highly, 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 highly do not recommend the juxtaposition of having your first child along with losing a loved one. Highly do not recommend. Very, very awful. 0 stars, right? But so after my son was born and was able to meet him out of the NICU, my husband and I drove and surprised my family, and he got to meet them. That was about May 18th. I remember it was my birthday 4 years ago. And that was also when my brother told us the doctors didn't think my dad would see June. So he said, my husband said, we're gonna go home, we're gonna drop Luke off, or drop me off, and I think you should come back and spend time with your dad. And I said, you want me to leave my newborn son? He just got out of the NICU. But more incredulous and more unbelievable to me, you want me to drive by myself for 5 hours? I've driven since I could, but I had just gotten a car in Chicago. I was a newbie to city driving. Could never imagine driving these 5 hours. But sometimes in life, a lot of people say the same things in life, obviously, right? We all have the same words and stuff. It's always crazy to me how sometimes people can say something in the right amount of sequence or the right words that just hit you different. And you remember some words more than others. One thing I will never forget is my husband telling me one of the smartest things he's ever said, that's also one of the saddest, is he said, your dad brought you into this world. You're gonna help him out of it. So I did it. Fresh ass postpartum hormones, sad as hell, just myself and hormones and the open road. I drove and I did it and I saw him. And just like life, sometimes you do things for the first time, it's scary as all hell. And then you do it and it's second nature. Now I go back almost every 2 months. At first it was because I had a screaming potato. I needed my mom to watch him so I could get some sleep. And now it's so that my son can have a relationship with his pawpaw that he didn't get with his gong-gong. And it's the first of many things recently that I've done that scared the shit out of me that I didn't want to do, but I just did it. Like speaking in front of people I don't know, hundreds of people I don't know. And I do it anyway. And sometimes life is just like that. You have to think about everything that's going around you, the people behind you, the people in front of you, all around you. You have to ask stupid questions if you want to get some answers. And sometimes you just have to get in that driver's seat, and you have to shut up and drive. Thanks.